Okay.
Tshabalala, kumshayeng.
A very, very blessed Friday, beloved. It's indeed another blessed day that the Lord has made. We are excited. We are so, so, so glad to be back with you on this beautiful day. And I'm sure as you get ready for the weekend, you are having a great time. We are here with you on Africa USA Radio on another great episode. As you know, I just love, 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 chatting with different guests, be it artists, be it authors, and all that, and speakers as well. And today I happen to have one of those great, great authors, writers, and a transformational speaker. The man is very multi-talented. Let me say this: he's very gifted. He's not only a writer, he's a speaker, a transformational speaker, and also a graphic designer. So today I have the opportunity of chatting with him. He goes by the name of Mandla Tshabalala. We're going to have a great time indeed. He's here with me on the screen. Let me just welcome him and bring him in as he also tells you a bit about himself, who he is, where he hails from, especially for those of you who get to know him for the first time. So we're going to get to know him up close and personal today and get to know about his work. Hello, Budmandla.
Good morning, how's Naomi? How are you?
I am blessed. I am wonderful. I am excited and looking forward to be chatting with you today for the very first time on Africa USA Radio. Welcome, welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. Tell us then, let's start here. Since it's the first time you get to be on this platform, I'm sure most of our listeners and our viewers don't really know who Budmandla is. Can you tell us a bit who is Budmandla Chabalala in a nutshell?
First of all, good morning to your listeners. Wherever they are in the world, it could be morning, it could be evening. Good morning.
Yeah,
Good morning to you as well and everybody in the studio.
right.
Thank you guys for hosting me. Yeah, I would say, also, Naomi, if I had to share hore ho etsahalang in my life ke nna mang ke etsang, it would take 2 episodes at least. So I'm just going to try and be brief.
Yeah, yeah. That's
As
why I
we
said in a
said, Mandla
nutshell.
Shabalala,
Right.
in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So Mandla Shabalala, former travel agent, I'm a graphic designer at this stage, pastor. I also
You
speak,
didn't
I've
tell me
spoken
that
at
one. You are
various
also a
events.
pastor. That one I
Absolutely.
didn't see it coming. You didn't tell me that you're also a pastor. Yo, but I did mention you are a man
Absolutely.
of many talents. Okay, you can continue, Brahmandla. What else? Who else?
Yeah, so
What else should we know about you? Who are you?
yeah, I've done gaming as well, even on the professional platforms. I've gamed. I've enjoyed that a lot. I've learned lessons. Sometimes when you hear me speak or preach, I'll normally refer to my adventures, in the
Hmm.
gaming world because there are so many lessons there that I've picked up. I also do counseling, marital counseling. I do grief counseling. So yeah, that's basically me. However, I enjoy my time with my family. I'll always stress that. I love board games. I've
Hmm.
mentioned that as well. And I've been writing for years, but this will be the very first time that I publish my own works. So I've got
Okay.
books, something like 12 books that I'm working on at the moment that I've been working on since around, let's say, 2004. that I have
Mm-hmm.
not published. So I've revisited the works, and three of those are ready to be published, and I'm already working on the fourth now. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Wow, wow. Very, very interesting background, very rich, career that you are pursuing. So multitask. It's like you've got so many branches in your career. And I'm wondering, how do you get to manage all that since you have so many roles that you are playing? How are you able to manage all these different roles and not confuse any of them or still find time for all of them, without making one suffer over the other?
I think it goes down to passion being the foundation of what I do. When you love what you do,
Mm,
you tend not to mess it up. And if it comes from passion, then it comes from your natural skill. So you tend not to have a problem, when you're juggling things around. And what I've
right.
tried to do is to streamline everything that I do. So basically, it's streamlined. I see it as the same thing. When I speak,
Mm,
I'll normally create graphics for my own presentations and all those things. So I see it basically as one thing. It's a total package. It's one.
mm, mm. And among all those passions that you have, which one is the most predominant one? Would you say you love it more than the rest? Is there one particular among
It's
them that you'd say, now this one is tops? I think if I were to choose among this, I will run with this one.
For me, I would say two. It's speaking and writing. Those are two
Okay.
of my biggest because I feel you cannot separate. If you're a speaker, you're a writer. Many people have not
Sure.
launched into that as yet because you have a voice,
Yeah.
you have a story, you've got a mission that you need to share with everybody else. And I think the biggest mistake we make as speakers, preachers, pastors is to separate the writing from the speaking. It's basically the same thing. I mean,
Mm.
if you were to
Mm.
take your sermons, all of those can be turned into books. So we tend to separate those two. For me, they are one and the same.
You're speaking to me now.
Yeah.
You're really speaking to me. You've just said something so profound because what you are talking about is exactly I'm in that mode right now where God is dealing with me. I'm also a pastor, by the way. I'm a pastor, I'm a speaker as well. And lately I've been delaying to start writing because I feel like no, it's like I just want to cage myself in
Mm.
those other roles of speaking, preaching, teaching, but then it has become such a struggle for me to launch out. And also I'm also an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a singer as well. So I'm trying to juggle
Okay.
all these roles, but there's this thing that's crying out saying, expand your ministry, expand your gift to even writing, because whatever you speak about, it can be packaged in books as well, So when you say
Yes.
this, it really
Yes.
speaks to me now. It's like you are challenging the
I'll tell you
gift
this.
in me.
I'll tell you this. I normally say to people when I speak to them that our gifts are like seeds.
Mm,
When you're looking at a seed, you don't get to see the fruit, the branch, the stem, and the roots and everything else. You only see a seed. However, if you
mm,
take the seed and you plant it, the seed begins then to transform and it changes. The seed will
right.
become a tree that will eventually bear fruit, and within the fruits are the seeds. And so I think, as much as I was saying that you cannot separate your speaking from your writing, it's basically the same thing. They come from the same seed, and that is passion.
Mm.
And I think for the fact that you are saying that it's slightly a challenge for you to get into writing, that tells me there could be a great writer. That, the best
Mm.
writers do not believe that they're great. So we struggle with that. I've struggled with that. I still
Especially
struggle
if
with
you've
that.
never done
I
it
read my
before,
work.
if you've exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even when you've done it, I think
I'm
even when you've done it multiple times, you're still unsure. You're always thinking, okay,
okay.
people might not receive me that well, or I might not be that good. and you are also sometimes intimidated by the talents of others. However,
True.
I believe we still need to put our stuff out there. And for the fact that we are afraid, I take it from several characters in scripture. I'm sorry, but you look at the likes of Gideon, so he was
Mm,
afraid of what he was called into. And that for me is a sign that you are good at doing that. You have been gifted, you have been,
mm,
graced with the necessary skills to achieve that.
mm, mm. When you say that, you remind me of my late father, my late dad, Bishop Lawrence Mokwera. He used to say that to me. Whenever I would preach a sermon, he would say, "Baby, that's a book on its own. You need to write a book about that." And to me, it would be like, it's one of those things. So many times he would say that, "That's a book, that's a book." And
Yeah,
before he passed on, he would say, "Do you know how many books are in you that you have not written? From the
absolutely.
messages, the sermons that you have preached, the teachings that you have done, and even your ministry
Yes.
itself." And it's like you just think it's enough just to speak about them, when you could extend them into something that will be even more lasting. Because I believe when you put something in a book, it will even impact the next generation. It's not just about what you say to the people, to the current people that you are talking to or ministering to, but
Yes.
even the next
Yes.
generation will get to know, will get to benefit from what you're saying. So I'm I'm really challenged. I don't want to lie. I'm really, really challenged. But tell me, in your case, was it a smooth sailing to move from being a speaker to being a writer? How has the journey transitioned from you? Did you find it challenging, or did you find it just smooth to do
I'll
it?
tell you what. I'll just tell you a story of how I came into speaking. I was never a speaker in the beginning. I've
Mm.
always been a writer. I've always
Okay,
written
it's
my thoughts, my
your
honest
journey
reviews,
started as a
my
writer.
experiences. As a writer, I didn't take it seriously up until I
Yeah.
wrote a story while I was in high school. I think grade 9, I should think. I was there, I wrote
Mm.
the story. I bought a two-choir book and I wrote the story in there. I still remember the story to this day. And I gave it at the tick. I will not give details, maybe because I'll try and revisit and write the story again. It was a novel. And
Mm-hmm.
I gave it to a
Mm.
friend to read and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. And from then on, I started writing
Mm.
stories that I would give away. You know, and it did. I didn't even take a lot of time writing. It would be within a month I'll
Sure.
be done with filling or hotlata that two-choir book, and I'd give those away. Those stories would be given away. So it started there, and that's when I began to notice that okay, there's interest in my writing. People enjoyed my writing, they loved my writing, but I was never
Mm.
a great speaker. In fact, here's a story for you. Still, Honogo High School go. We started. I think I was in grade 11 then. We started the SCMs, the Christian King,
Mm.
the
Student Christian
Student Christian
movement. Yeah.
movements, and yes, so I was one of the people to be in that. And I was not a speaker at that time. I did not even know that I could speak to crowds and all those things. And at one stage, I was given an opportunity to go and preach. And you must know, Jorge, our movement at that time, Nebanale, a lot of people coming through. And Neranale, part of the community, we also had people by Loring. We considered back gospel, and these guys have been there doing it for a while. And I was tasked with preaching to this group of people. And the first time I tried, it fell flat. I felt like I could die. I just stood there, opened the Bible, and
Mm.
nothing came out. And nothing happened for me. And I thank God that I did not
I
give up.
hear you. Mm.
And I thank God that I did not give up. I went back again to ask for an opportunity. I'm just going through the highlights here. So I went through it. Now, what I did not
Mm.
mention is the fact that immediately after every one of these failures, the so-called Christian movement, they started to so-called legends of the gospel would call me and pray for me, as if they were delivering me from possession and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
never perform the exorcism. Um, but I thank God that I had to persevere, and I challenged myself to do it. So for me, that is the biggest achievement in my life. The fact that I had to break through serious barriers. The writing seemed natural.
Wait a minute. I want you
However,
to go back. I want you to go back. But Mandla, I want you to go back to what you just said. What were they praying for? What the exorcism thing? What were they casting out of you? What was happening
yeah,
there?
they
That-
I'm not sure what they were casting out. I just know that they were casting out some type of demon that I was not aware I had. And I think their prayers didn't even work
Mm,
because I failed time and again, up until I think the Lord decided it was time. And as I said, I also thank God for the fact that I did not quit. I could have given up the first time it fell flat for me. I could have given up the second time, but I did not. I kept on going back. Today, I'm even a Toastmaster. So yeah, it was just hard work to get where I am in terms of my speaking. The writing, I don't see it as being hard work. It was always there.
mm.
It came naturally, but the speaking was a challenge.
So you were a natural when it comes to writing, but speaking, you had to work on it.
I worked on it. I still do. I still do.
Mm.
I see myself as one of the best speakers in the world. However, I still feel that there's a lot of work to be done.
Okay. 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 Very, very interesting. Wow. 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 I just love how your story has transitioned from being a writer to becoming a speaker, you know. And how did you get to a level where you felt a sense of calling in your life to become a speaker, or moving from, I know you mentioned that you've always had love for writing. Writing has always been part of you from a very young age. But for you to start feeling that sense of calling, that you are called to do this, to use your writing, which also tied with speaking, you know, when did that happen? When did it dawn on you that you are really called for this?
I think for me it was the first time, in terms of the speaking, was the first time I
Mm.
got it right. I got it
Okay.
right really called assembly. And at that time, nobody wanted to give me the opportunity to speak, particularly the chairperson of the SCM at the time. He was supportive, though, and I still thank him for that,
Mm.
including the teacher. We had two teachers actually that were involved in assisting us and helping us, and being the watchers of what we were doing in the SCM. They did not want to give me that opportunity because they've seen me fail time and again. And I requested, okay, Kikopa, a change of environment here. Kikopa, not to speak in the SCM arena. Can I then do my speaking go assembly? And we had a
Right.
debate. They didn't want me to do it. Assembly was more people. It was more numbers because it's the whole school there. And I
Mm.
went out there to speak. I remember I even spoke on a character called Jafta. He's one of my most favorite characters in the Bible. He's had
Hmm.
a lot to overcome. So I spoke on
Right.
the life of Jafta. I didn't preach, but I went to motivate the students. And
Mm.
I saw half of the school give their lives to Christ that day. And
Wow.
as I was speaking, I was also crying. They were crying with me, and I felt God move that day. And that's when I knew that, okay, then I had to struggle before, being able to speak the way I needed to achieve results such as this. And yeah,
Mm.
I think from that
Mm.
point on, all my life I've been called Murudi Pastor from possibly when I was 6 or 7. But
Hmm.
I never saw that happening because nobody knew that I could speak. I mean, I was one of those guys that would sit in the corner, even in the discussion room, be in the back, say nothing. Enter a meeting
Hmm.
and leave a meeting without saying anything. I'm still quiet though, but when it comes to being given a platform to speak, I deliver on that platform.
Wow. You remind me of these characters in the Bible. Moses, when God called him, he said, I can't speak. And look at what he was able to accomplish, even though he looked down on himself, thinking that he was not fit or qualified to do what God is calling him. Isn't it amazing that God specializes in calling those who feel like they are not qualified? The very ones who look down on themselves, the very ones who think that they cannot really get to that level where the way God sees them, he uses the very same thing. That's why the Bible says he uses the foolish things of this world, to nullify the ones who think they are wise. So you are really a
Okay.
living testimony of this generation of what God can do with somebody who feels like they just can't do it. They are just not qualified to do what God has called them to do. And even your personality, as you say, you are a very reserved person. You don't talk much, and people may not even think much of you. But when God puts you in
No.
the platform, you just do exploits. It's just amazing. And that's how you know
Yeah.
actually that you are called. It's not about you, it's about what God can do through you, you know.
Yeah, I think that the thing is when you are not sure or when you are not confident in your own abilities to deliver, then you rely on Him. I think there were
Yeah, it
times
keeps you
when
humble.
I
It keeps
felt
you
like,
humble.
yes, there are times when
Hmm.
I felt like I can do this. I don't need to pray. I can do this, and it goes wrong. Each time you do that, it goes wrong, including my writing. However, if
Hmm.
I am to totally rely on God and tell myself, listen, I need you. I'm going to do this. I need you. I need you to speak through me. I need you to deliver a message through me. Then I see Him move. So I think that's the biggest thing to say when you feel that
Hmm.
you are lacking, when you feel that you are inadequate, then He's able to show up because you can rely on Him and you can need Him, or actually, you need Him to do it for you. So you just present yourself and He works through you. So I feel
Right.
that's the difference. Whereas somebody that is naturally talented for me would rely on the talent rather than God. So that's where the difference is.
Sure, sure. Wow, that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Now tell us, you call yourself a transformational speaker. Why a transformational speaker specifically, and not just a speaker? How do you define your role
I
as a
think a lot of us
transformational
speak.
speaker? Can you say that again?
Yeah. I think if a lot of us speak, many of us are speakers. However, very few of us are out there to transform lives. So for me, the transformational
Mm,
speaking part comes with the passion to see lives change.
yeah.
I have turned down a lot of speaking opportunities because they do not provide me the platform to be able to seek impacting people's lives. I believe that
Mm,
after speaking, when I leave, somebody should feel I have to do something with my life. I have to
mm,
start moving. There must be action after that. So I'm more of a practical person. I would deliver practicalities, I would deliver steps. So it's not just a matter of me preaching and leaving, but I'll give you steps. If we are saying, if we're, for example, we're talking about walking in grace, I'll give you steps on how to achieve those, which are practical. If we are talking about maybe building a business or something like that, I'll give you steps. So majority of my speaking is centered around my experiences. It's centered around the things I've done, the things I've achieved, and where I've also fallen short. So I take those and I
mm.
package them in a way that can challenge someone to do something. So that's basically where it comes from. So I'm more of a
Okay.
person that seeks development and transformation in the lives of the people that I'm speaking to.
Mm, mm, mm. And how do you use that? What kind of platforms do you normally use to exercise that gift, to to use that gift to impact the lives of the people? Are there any specific particular platforms that maybe you are using, structured platforms that you are using to actually use that gift as a transformational speaker?
The biggest platform for me, else Naomi, that I'm using is conversations. I start there. I feel gantši re batla go ba formal with our speaking. We want numbers. We want people to be there so that you can deliver. But I take it in conversations, even with my family. I speak to my children, I speak to my wife, and I try to change their lives in every conversation we have. I speak to friends. In fact, the other day, my friend and business partner was telling me, oh, no, listen, I'm going to buy cameras, kitty patch within every room where we tend to sit, because each time you speak, there's something that makes a difference in my life. And for me, that's the biggest. I do not wait for a crowd. Whenever I get an opportunity to impact somebody, I'll do that. So it starts there. And then from then on, I think there are obviously social media is available, it's free. I normally love using quotes, but it's been a while since I posted because I'm in transition actually. I'm transitioning all of my social media platforms to then feature the part of writing and then maybe gear it as completely a speaker. But yeah, there are social platforms. Then there's invitations that one will get to various places, including churches. So I'll first check whether it's suitable for me to come and speak. And if it's suitable, I prefer workshops. I prefer workshopping people, because normally with sermons, people have a tendency of wanting to enjoy sermons. So I no longer really enjoy it on the sermon platform. I prefer workshops where I can sit down with people, workshop them, and they can ask questions and I can answer those questions. So those are, I prefer interactive setups, if you will. With including with preaching. I've been to places where I preached, and I would ask people to ask questions, and some pastors would be offended. But yeah, that's basically the person I am.
And in your role as a pastor, because you among all these other roles that you mentioned, you are also a pastor. Do you normally experience or see your transformational speaking gift also manifesting somehow through your preaching, through your sermons?
Every time I speak, whether it's preaching, it's a normal conversation, yes, it's what I seek out.
That's the
I'll tell you,
approach.
that's the approach. My biggest passion, and I think, allow me for a lack of a better word, get my nightmare, is not seeing people barely transformed or changed. Kinale, a deep-seated desire to see people but develop personally, mindsets changing,
Sure.
and because I want to believe for everything that we fail at or we achieve, and so if you position yourself mentally, if you position yourself correctly, then you're putting yourself on a path to achieve the Lord's achieve. You look at the Bible as well. The Bible also encourages us to, it says, be not conformed, but be ye transformed, by the renewing of your mind. So it simply means the day Umidimo is not interested in using you mindset or he wants you to change and begin engaging with him at his level. And that will take a different type of mentality. You need to adopt mentality, and so that's a lifetime endeavor or a lifetime journey that you're going to take. So for me, I feel that when we speak, when we preach, one of the things that we ought to be pursuing is challenging mindsets to change, because we can preach some of the best sermons in the world. However, if people are not,
if there's no change,
geared to renew their minds and change and receive the same, it's not going to work.
I love it. I love that approach that you are taking, because at the end of the day, people's lives have to be changed. People's lives have to be transformed. What is the point of using these platforms or having this gift, but it's not making any difference or an impact in somebody's life? It's as good as nothing. But I just love how you've managed to connect your gift with purpose attach it with purpose to say, I have a gift, but I'm not just going to use it anyhow. I'm not called to use it just anyhow, but I'm called to use it to impact people's lives so that they can change, they can be transformed. And that's where the core of the matter is. And I believe even in your speaking engagements, in your sermons, you are not fulfilled when you speak and lives are not changed because you know that you will not have fulfilled or accomplished the goal and the purpose for which you are called or doing what you're doing. So it's really profound. It's
No,
very, very powerful.
no, true, true, true. I think
Yeah.
the other day somebody was saying to me, "Hore, I've noticed the difference between you and some of the pastors we interact with. The difference is that people or pastors would focus on numbers in the church, but you focus on changing lives. You want lives
Hi.
changed. Because I
Sure.
get frustrated.
Sure.
I'll tell you, I get frustrated when I delivering a see myself delivering a sermon that I know ought to change lives, and people do not receive it the same way. It it hurts me. It breaks me because I want to
Hmm.
see along the levels of whatever it is that was delivered. So I feel them look like Christ, becoming like Christ, unlike having glamorous churches with numbers in the church, but lives are not really impacted.
Sure.
Because
I
if you
hear
can
you.
impact people in the church, they can go out in the world, begin impacting.
Hmm. 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 Wow. Wow. I love your mindset. I just love how you approach ministry, from a totally different perspective from how other people are doing it. So, lastly, in this few minutes that we are left with, you are an author as well. You've written several books. Can you tell us which books you have written and how are the books doing? And if people want to get hold of these books, how can they get them? Tell us in a nutshell which books you have written.
Personally, I'll be publishing my own works very soon. I have not published my own works. I've written for other people, written for companies and different platforms. But this will be the first
Mm,
time I publish it in my own name.
sure.
So there's three books that I've done. I've done Gifts of the Spirit. These are devotionals. It's Fruit
Mm,
of the Spirit devotionals. One for
mm,
men and the other one for women. And I've done a book now that is called The Heart of a Warrior. It's a leadership book, 30 chapters in there. I go through lessons that I've
mm,
acquired in my own life. However, I use other people's stories to narrate those lessons.
mm-hmm.
So when you read the book,
Sure.
you will not necessarily know that these are lessons that I picked up personally in my own life. It's models. I
Mm,
just go through models of leadership. Model one, say, being passion, for example, that you cannot lead people without having a passion that connects you to them. And then I use a story of somebody that had passion to a point where they gave themselves to the people they lead. And I use stories of
mm,
people in South Africa and in Africa as well. People such as Thomas Sankara, Winnie Mandela. I use a variety of people that people know. So this is not necessarily a Christian book, even though in the beginning it was. And I decided, okay, no, I've
mm-hmm.
done the fruit of the Spirit and I'm going to do several other Christian books. Let me do something that is not Christian related, but the lessons are Christian. And so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the book. It will be published soon. I will let you know as soon as it comes out. Everything is done. Everything is
Yes,
sorted.
you better,
Um,
because you see now, uh, today we were actually addressing Ubud Mandla in all angles, everything that you were doing. But
yes.
once those books come out, I would love for us to talk about those books in particular. As soon as the first one comes out, please make sure you let me know. Then we can talk about the books themselves, the book itself, exhausted, so that people can also be able to indulge in the wisdom and the information that you are delivering. Today, it was just an introduction of who you are as Mandla in total, your career in general. And now, when you get to that phase when the books are published, we'll definitely love to have you back so that we can also draw from the wealth of wisdom that you would have deposited in those books. So you say it's 3 books. Are you gonna be publishing them simultaneously or each at a time?
I'm hoping to do them in one go and maybe even
Okay.
release them as a package, or you could possibly maybe buy them individually.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
because even
Yeah.
the book that I'm doing on leadership, I'm working also on a devotion for that. The book, remember, is
Okay.
not Christian, however, the devotion will be Christian, where you pray and ask God to perhaps maybe help you walk in passion, walk in love, walk in this and that. So I'm looking at doing that. And hopefully, I'll
Mm.
be launching social media campaigns for the books, including
Yeah.
doing workshops, either via Zoom or something. We'll be inviting people to come through and we can go through the lessons of the books and such and such. So we'll see how it goes.
Interesting stuff. Powerful stuff indeed. Powerful. So please do that. Make sure that you inform us, you let us know so that we can go with you through the journey. Would love to be part of this journey. And also as Africa USA Radio, especially on this show that I'm doing, Living Precepts, I just love promoting authors. I love giving authors a platform, to promote their works, because I believe that authors have a gift that will impact lives generationally, not just for now, you know. And it's
True,
crucial
true.
that whenever we have a new work that it's done that will impact people's lives, not just for now, then we should put it out there so that people should know about it. So whichever way we can support you as Africa USA Radio, especially on this show, whichever way we can partner with you, even when you launch the books, we would love to be part of that. Maybe if you're looking for a media partner of some sort, consider that as well. You can consider that as well. Would love to give you that support, so that your launch can be very successful, and also your books should, reach beyond the sphere of whoever will be there, your immediate what is it, your immediate reach, but it can go beyond, since Africa USA Radio is also global. So we would really, really love to support you as much as we can and be part of your journey. And it's been such a pleasure chatting with you, Mandla. I really, really appreciate your gift. We bless God for you, for your life, and for positioning you in this generation, at this time, in this generation. We believe that there's so much more, so much impact that God is going to do, to use you, to transform lives with the gift that He has actually deposited in you. So lastly, last but not least, are you available for bookings? And if people want to book you for, let's say, transformational speaking, in whatever events, are you available for that? And what is the procedure? How do they go about it? How do they get hold of you?
I am available. My number is also on my Facebook page. I do not mind giving it out now. I can also be booked via email. You can inbox me on any of my social platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn as much. Of late, as I said, I'm gearing to sort of like transform them into what I want them to be, or streamline them into what I want them to be.
Sure.
So yeah, the number that I can be reached on is 081 and you can also email me on mandlajt at live.com. So that's how I can be reached. Calling me and asking me to come and speak.
Okay.
But yes,
Can you
I
can you
do
can
a
you
lot
just
of
repeat
speaking,
your number
especially outside
again?
the church.
Yeah. Okay. Can you just repeat your number again and
347.
your email address? I think there was a little bit of a cut there where they've missed, where we've missed some other parts of it.
All right.
Please
So the
repeat it.
number is 081 347 081 347 5650. And I'll say it one more time, it's 081 347 5650. And my email is Mandla, JT, J for Junior, T for Tshabalala, at live.com.
Great stuff. Wow. Thank you so much, Mandla. It's been such a great pleasure chatting with you. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I'll keep checking you out and also ensuring that, you know what, even the books that you'll be publishing, I would love to have copies of them and also see how we can promote them here on Africa USA Radio. And also, please don't forget, when you launch, consider inviting us as well to be part of what you're doing and the journey that you're taking. And may God continue to bless you. May He continue to enlarge your territory. May He continue to take you from glory to glory as you impact the lives of those that He has placed you around, especially even the next generation. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. May He also continue to favor everything that you do and walk ahead of you and win the battles that you're currently faced with. So yeah, thanks for having me. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. Amen. Amen. That was none other than Mandla Tshabalala, who happens to be an author, a transformational speaker, and also a pastor. That one I didn't even see it coming, but he's a man who with multi gifts. He's multi gifted. So if you want to book him, get in touch with him. Contact him on the numbers that he has given, and also on his email. And I believe that he will be a blessing to you, to your ministry, and whatever event that you'll be inviting him into. That's all that we have for you today, right here on Living Precepts on this particular episode. I trust that you have been blessed. Until next time, this is me, Naomi Wesi, saying, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May He cause His face to shine upon you and give you peace. Till we meet again next week, same time, same place, right here on Africa USA Radio. Shalom.